heart. So if I think that this is a better way for us to communicate, for us to interact, cameras off notwithstanding, then I'm gonna go along with that until I get, I get hit over the head by either Lauren or a couple of you, right? Or the people who boss me up like nausea and and
But so I'm thinking, if you have never experienced Moodle, well, why would you not try? Because you can use Zoom on Moodle.
yeah, you go. I was, I
So
mean,
I,
I'm such a
I'm
clever,
not, I'm not getting, I'm not getting you.
such a clever fellow. That is exactly what I just threw that out there so that I was hoping that somebody would take me up on it. And they were, how irrational is that? I mean, I've never tried the thing, as far as you know.
Exactly.
As far as you know,
So
I've
I've
never.
never tried it.
As far
As
as you
far
know,
as I know,
there you go. And it seems irrational that I wouldn't even at least try it. And
right? Yes,
try it, you might like it, right?
there's a lot of benefits, so you should try it.
There you go. And that is where we really officially start in the class. And that is what happens when you're dealing with change. It is not always going to be a rational response. A rational response from a third party looking at this would say, but this makes me feel to be very stupid. But if they have a free Moodle thing, why should we be paying on Zoom and blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't take into consideration my own personal preference, my own bias. And the fact is that we do not react to change. We do not always react to change in a rational manner. You hear me,
But
Noja?
so are you aware that you could use Moodle? You could use the Zoom on Moodle. There are different platforms. You could use Moodle, Google Meet, Blue, what, Big Blue Button.
There you go. There you go. You could use Google Meet. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And
guess
it's easily accessible. You have all the information
and
well drawn out. You know, there's a lot of things, a lot of
guess
features that
what?
you could work with.
And guess what, Naja?
What?
I do. Yeah. You know why? Because as far as I am concerned, and this is where I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be a rational. Do you know any smokers?
Smokers.
Smokers of tobacco. Do you know any smokers?
I don't associate with smokers. Sorry.
You don't
I don't
associate.
know. No, I don't know any.
Well, lucky for you.
Hmm.
But you know how many smokers know that smoking is dangerous to their health?
Yeah, they're fully aware.
You
It's
know,
written on the cigarette boxes. It's bad for
right?
your health.
You could give them a million rational reasons why they should not be smoking.
But what
Right?
is really your rational reason for not using Moodle?
Because I just want to be different.
You see, you just want to be stubborn. Okay, all right, I get you.
You see, now look at the difference in terminology. Yeah? I said different, you said stubborn. When you try to institute change in an institution, there are going to be a bunch of people there who are saying that management is just being stubborn. You with me, Naja? Right? I hope you
Yes,
guys
I'm with you. I'm with you.
this thing is playing out. I deliberately seeded this conversation so that we'll get to this point because I said for this first lecture, we're dealing with the psychology behind change. Right? There are some people who are naturally inclined to try something. How you will know if you didn't try it? There are a lot of things that I have no idea find out about and I have no idea trying them. Right? I hear bungee jumping is a great experience. I have no intention of trying that.
That
No
is
matter
something
how, no
dangerous.
matter how
So
many people
that
come
is
and
an exception. There is an exception to the rule,
there's
right?
exception to the rule. Why can't I be the exception to the rule?
No. Right.
Who gave you the right to tell me how I should adapt to change? Is it because you're the manager is it because you're the president of this civil society organization? That just because it works for you and you think is a great idea is a great idea for everybody? Haven't you ever been in that position before, Noja? I'm sorry to be singling you out there, but you're the one who took the
No,
bait first.
feel free, feel free. My back is broad.
Yeah, you took the bait
Mm-hmm.
first. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what gives you the right to tell me how to react to change?
I am not saying that I have the right to tell you to how to react, but what I'm saying to you,
Is that I'm
give it a try, and then you can judge whether or not it's something for you or not for you.
there you
Because
go.
at the end of the day, you can avoid it for now, but eventually you would be part of Moodle, Mr. Steve Maxime.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad
It's
you
the
said that.
truth.
All the people who oppose change and all the people who have personal reasons not to change, they always have somebody in the background telling them, run high, jump low. You're going to do this. If the union says, that we're not going to go to a 40-hour work week, no way we is approving of that change. And there'll be people sitting down and say, I'd rather dead and work a 40-hour work week. And then there'll be
Okay.
people in the background. Wait, no, there are people in the background saying, wait, you don't see something. Give yourself a year or two. If you're still working here, you're gonna be working a 40-hour week like everybody else, and you won't even be bothering to complain. Are you seeing where I'm heading?
Very, very much so. It's quite vivid. But say, for example, Tamsisi says to you, Mr. Maxime, it is mandated that you be on Moodle. What would you do? Still say you're not accepting the change, be your own individual self?
I will go ahead and Moodle and I will go through the whole process and I'll do everything I can do to make sure Moodle doesn't work properly for me. Glenda, before I finish explaining it, Glenda, you had your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to butt in a little while now, but I was waiting for you.
Mm,
It is okay for Mr. Maxime to resist change because it's not everybody that's ready to remove themselves from their comfort zone and
mm.
just adapt to whatever we say. But I guess with education, with knowledge,
It's because,
understanding the right reason, then some would able to say, well, we have to leave him, let him find
sorry,
his way around. That's okay. We have some like those.
sorry. I
Thank
didn't
you.
like because of stupid. So that when you are in a civil society organization, when you're in an organization, the organization decides to change, and you have floor members who don't want to change because they're stupid. So if you educate
No.
them, they'll be able to change. Is that what?
No, I'm saying it's okay for you to resist because that is where you are at right now. But it doesn't mean that you're going to remain there.
Oh, I mean, I will evolve, right? I will get better.
Yes, of course, eventually, but we cannot force it on you.
But
We cannot force it on you.
you're saying that the problem is with me.
No,
No, you
no.
said that the problem is with me. When I evolve and I get brighter, I will gladly take up the change and do
And
Moodle and everything else.
like you were saying previously, not everybody wants to change, you know?
So why are you so keen to have me evolve and change?
That's not just the work of action, you
What
know. I'm
you
saying
find
that
somebody
in
else a power?
time
Is
you
that
will find your way around and get to whatever point
sorry,
you want to get at, you know.
sorry,
But when
sorry.
you get there, I'll draw it to your attention. I'll take notes in the background quietly.
Very well, very well.
Thank you.
What we have found out is that when organizations institute change, there will always be some fool who feel they're not going to change, and there'll always be bright people telling them that, when you evolve and you get brighter, or one that you haven't used as yet, and I suppose it's difficult to use that with me because I'm the oldest person here, is that when you grow up, you'll find out, or when you get older, when you get more experience, you'll understand the significance of the change. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. And that is why we have difficulty in organizations to get to convince people. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, I'll show you some of the techniques that can be used to bring along the people who are thinking differently to you and not without using words like educate them, wait until they evolve, tell them that they're stubborn, tell them that they're either too old or too young to understand it. And the very famous one, when you get a little more experience, you'll understand, because I am at this sophisticated stage where I understand, but poor thing, you can't see it yet, but in due course. So I'm telling you that at that very personal level, you're going to have the people out there in various degrees of compliance, if you like, or acceptance. They're going to be there's a certain percentage who will be totally against the change. I don't care how good the change is, how important the change is, at a very personal level, there are people who are not going to. Do you know that there are people working living in cities where They have a smog report. Are you listening to me? There's a smog report. The air quality is terrible. I mean, most people know that the air quality is terrible, right? They prefer go out with a mask or with a gas mask or with a filter rather than move. Because you would think that if you're so bright and you're so rational and you know the air quality in this city is terrible, then why the hell would you want to live in Mexico City? That doesn't seem very rational. But if you talk to the people living there, they'll give you a whole host of reasons. This is where I grew up. This is where I work in. This is where my school is that I'm attending. And they give you a million and one reasons why they should move. And if we get down to that very personal, psychological level, there's a very famous experiment that I'm sure, demonstration, sorry, not an experiment, the very famous demonstration that I'm sure all of you heard about, right? Where you brace yourself, there's this vat of boiling water. How many of you know this story? The vat of boiling water, scientists put a frog into it. What was the first thing the frog did? Jump out, right? And they took same type of frog, put it in room temperature water, and then they started heating the water. And that frogs would not come out of there until they were boiled to death. So I'm telling you that it is not only impending danger that makes people move or resist change or accept change. It's always a very personal thing, and people find ways to rationalize it. The way I found to rationalize it is that I'm comfortable with Zoom, right? I am pay my subscription already, and I don't care how many different ways I could use Zoom and Moodle. Just to be different and just to be Maxime, I ain't going on Moodle, right? And I will. The rest of you will have how many weeks in this course? 9 of you to harass me about that until such time as Lauren lays down the rules and said, tutor Maxime, if you do not go on Moodle, that's the end of the class. And then what I will do is I'll go on Moodle, and what I'll do, I'll sabotage it, right? I come up with a million and one reasons why Moodle doesn't work properly, right? I will tell you about all the missing emails, right? I'll tell you about all the difficulties. Every time I call the IT department in TAMCC, I could never find anybody to help me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure I'm going to find somebody. Maybe Jeanette, yeah, I could find Jeanette, and say, let me go against this thing. Now. Let me find a way to complain about all the shortcomings in Moodle. Because if I look, I can find it, because I can find shortcomings in Zoom as well, right? So I'm telling you that if we're talking about change and change management, if you do not start at the very personal level, at the level of the individual, you are doomed to failure. That is the only thing I'm sure about in this course, right? That with organizations, to get them on board to react, especially if it's to react to a change and not a proactive thing. Because there are changes that are known and that are coming that people can prepare for, and you still get resistance for that, right? So not all the changes are going to be catastrophic and instantaneous. What about stepwise? What about incremental changes, like I described with the frog in the hot water? So the water is heating up, but the frog's still comfortable and still comfortable. And then eventually, by the time it gets to a temperature where it's enough to boil it, it dies. Comfortable till the end. As opposed to if you just introduced it into boiling water to start with, nobody in their right mind, if you didn't grow up in Mexico City, didn't have any relationship with that city, and somebody asks, you win a prize trip, to go anywhere in Mexico, you would hardly pick Mexico City. But there are people who live in there, the people living in LA, okay, take San Francisco, a major San Andreas Fault. They've known for years that at any time it could be the big one. You see any mass movement out of San Francisco? You see any mass movement of people out of California? No. because they have internalized the risk and they have said, you know, I mean, like smokers will tell you, something had to kill me, right? So if it's the earthquake that will kill me, well then, you know, they'll find ways to rationalize it. And to an outsider, it may sound, you know, really, really silly. Because I'm sure when I was telling you that story, you're thinking, you know, frogs had to be damn stupid. You know, if no human being would do that, right? It's only because it's a stupid frog. You know, only a frog would do that. But I just gave a similar type of example in terms of where people live, how people treat their own bodies. I mean, you know, they know that there's nothing natural about smoking. There's absolutely nothing natural about putting, you know, carboniferous particles into your lungs. But we do it. I mean, you know, we're comfortable. I mean, the carnival freaks like myself, you know, will always be there, you know, hinting that, you know, you didn't have to ban carnival. I mean, something had to kill you anyhow. I mean, you know, where's all that, right? So I'm saying that anytime you get into a discussion on change and change management, you have to be prepared to deal with people literally one-on-one before you get that mass movement or mass adoption. Because I'll tell you, there are a number of other lecturers and tutors at TAMCC who weren't keen on Moodle at all, you know, right? And just for your information, Norja, I did do the training. So it's not as if I didn't try it and I don't know and I like it. It just didn't appeal to me. So on a very
That says a lot now. You're more than stubborn.
there you go, right. A stubborn and stupid. But I can deal with that. I can deal with that because to my own mind, I am stupid for a cause. You know, people like a cause, eh? People always like to be involved in something outside of themselves. So I want to be leading the charge, the anti-Moodle charge in TAMCC. So 10 years from now, when they write the history of TAMCC, they say, you know, there are a bunch of people who resisted Moodle, you know, led by a trainee named Maxime. That might be my motivation, you don't know, right? In this course, we are going to look at a number of the so-called motivators. What makes people do what they do, even when it seems irrational to the casual observer, or even the interested in observer? Because a lot of times, I mean, our relatives, our kids, our parents do stuff that we really have. I mean, we can't believe they could be that stupid, right? Things that you see from a mile off, you know, you can't understand why your mother may be doing stupidness like that, but why she wouldn't change, why she wouldn't give up this and, you know, do X or do
So
Y.
I have a question.
Something about your